What's up everybody, this is Jack from Crypto49er, bringing you on my journey into cryptocurrency. For those that don't know, I give away a 0.1 Litecoin to a random commenter of yesterday's video, as I make a video almost every single day. The only request is, the comment is related to something you learned about cryptocurrency today from anywhere on the web. Let's get started. And the winner is CR7. How do you store your crypto coins the safest possible way? Do you use hardware wallets too? CR7, yes. I have two Ledger Nano S, one for backup. I think I explained in the past, the reason why I have two is because I didn't trust myself when I set up the first one, that if I copied the backup password phrasing correctly like I did with the Lisk wallet, I would not have been able to get my coins back. So I needed to test that, and the only way for me to do that without moving coins back and forth and restoring it was just to get another Ledger Nano S. So that's what I did, and then I was able to restore onto that Ledger Nano S, confirm that I did copy the passphrase correctly. So I definitely recommend having hardware wallet. That's one of the safest ways to store your cryptocurrencies. If you don't have the money to buy a hardware wallet, I would say at the minimum, create paper wallets. It's going to be a lot more work, but it's just as safe because the private keys are not stored on the computer. And what it is with a paper wallet is, every single time you use it, that wallet is burned. Basically, you have to create a new wallet. So there's a bit more work to it, but it's free. So I would prefer that over having all my coins stored in Exodus, Jax, or any other wallet that is basically online software wallet. Alright, let me give you a 0.1 Litecoin. Alright, congratulations CR7, you got your 0.1 Litecoin. On to today's topic. Today I want to talk to you guys about how to pay the lowest possible fee for Bitcoin transactions. So as you can see in this CoinDesk article here, they talk about someone bought their first Bitcoin and then raised for the fees because, like this person tweeted, he bought $25 in Bitcoin and then he sent it over from Coinbase to Kraken, I guess to do some trading. $25 sent, $16 in fees, $41 total. Basically he paid 40% of that $25, basically he pays 40% in fees. Before I can explain how to pay the lowest possible fee, I have to explain transactions on Bitcoin and why some transactions are bigger, why some transactions are smaller. And that's going to be a challenge again, just like yesterday's video, but I'll try again. I'll try my best to explain this to you guys. So here it goes. Alright, so for most people, when you think of a Bitcoin wallet, you think of your wallet you have at home. It'll be something like this, right? You have a wallet and then you have 5, 10, 20, 50s, 100s. And then you think that whenever you make a transaction, you get the nominations of it back to you. You get these notes back to you that you can use. And then when you spend it again, you just trade it back and forth. That's not how Bitcoin works. Bitcoin is more like checks. What it is every single time you send somebody a Bitcoin, you're actually sending them a check in a sense. So what it is that person receives a check, and then when he or she wants to spend the money in his Bitcoin, he literally had to send that check back out. And then whatever doesn't get spent, so let's say that if you only want to spend a portion of that check, so let's say you're person A, you gave $100 to person B in Bitcoin, and person B wanted to send $50 of that Bitcoin to person C. What happened is person B would send the whole entire check, basically the $100 check that you, person A, gave to him. He'll send it over to person C, and he gets like a refund of $50 back into his wallet. So that's how it works, pretty much, in a very basic sense from what I can understand. And that explains why I saw this on Chain.so when I got my money from HashFlare into my Bitcoin wallet. So their wallet, they have 4.7 Bitcoins. They only sent me 0.022. And then what happened is 4.68 gets routed back into the wallet because that's how Bitcoin works. So literally, they had to send that entire amount that they have in their wallet because that's what they receive in that wallet. So they received that amount of 4.7. So anyway, they had to spend that whole entire check of 4.7 Bitcoins from their wallet to me. But then they're not paying me the whole entire thing. They're only paying me a fraction, in this case 0.22, and then they're getting back the rest of it back into their wallet. So that's the very basic, and that's how it works. So now you know how Bitcoin works. So it's not like cash, but more like checks. How is it that some transaction costs more and some transaction costs less? So the best way for me to show you is using what I currently have in my Bitcoin wallet on the Ledger Nano S. So right now I have 3 transactions that are in my wallet that I sent over to my wallet from all the way back from November to December 5th. Let's say if I want to send everything from my wallet to another wallet, I have to basically send all these 3 transactions, all these 3 checks, quote unquote, to that other wallet. So basically, my transaction just got 3 times as large as a normal transaction that only has 1 transaction that I previously sent to one other wallet. They've only sent 0.66 Bitcoin from my wallet because I have 1 transaction that had 0.66. Then what it is I only will be sending this 1 transaction out, this 1 check out to that other wallet. So that means there's only 1 transaction that was sent out instead of having 3 transactions sent out. So that gets us closer to explaining what's the size right now. If you go back to this transaction here, you'll see that there's 374 bytes in this transaction. And all it was is 1 input and 2 outputs. So this transaction alone has 300 bytes. I can't explain the byte size right now, but let's just say approximately, based on what we know here, so 1 input, 2 outputs, 374 bytes. So approximately each input and output, it's about 100 bytes. So that's pretty much what we have to know. So each input and output is about 100 bytes. Now let me bring back up what I talked about yesterday in terms of the average byte size, and you can see it from bitcoinfees.earn.com. They'll tell you the average byte size, again, as I mentioned yesterday, is 226 bytes. The reason why this transaction is bigger is because there's 1 additional output. Because there are 2 outputs, that's the reason why this transaction is larger than what is a median transaction, which is 226 bytes. So now what happens if I'm getting, let's say once a week I have HashFlare automatically transfer money to me. So I would have, let's say every week HashFlare would transfer me 0.01 Bitcoin every single week. And then 10 weeks later, I want to spend that 0.1 Bitcoin out onto another wallet. So that is going to be very expensive because it's going to look something like this. If you see Block Cipher, so this is not my transaction, but this is something from another article I'll show you in a bit. So right now there's 6 inputs in here. You can see the 6 inputs and 1 output. So imagine each input is about, like I mentioned, about 100 bytes, and 1 output about 100 bytes again. So we're talking about like 700 bytes transaction right now. So this is going to be a very expensive transaction because you have so many of these little inputs that because you're sending, we're combining all these little Bitcoin that I got from HashFlare into the 1 output I want to send out. So right now this transaction is going to be very large, and that's the reason why I will have to pay a lot of fees for it. So in a sense, what I said yesterday wasn't exactly 100% correct, where the amount of Bitcoin I send out doesn't determine how much fees I pay. So that's not exactly correct. It comes down to how you got that Bitcoin amount. So if you got, let's say if I got 10 Bitcoins from 1 transaction that I bought from Coinbase, then it's not going to cost me anything more. But if I have 10 transactions from Coinbase of 1 Bitcoin each, then that's going to cost a lot more to transfer because of each of these inputs are going to add up to the byte size. And if you want to read more about it, there's this article from MinerZ.info, and that will hopefully explain better to you in terms of how your transaction gets larger and larger, and I'll put a link down below. Now that we know why transactions cost more for some transactions compared to others, how do we pay the lowest fee possible for each transaction? It comes back down to picking a wallet that lets you pick your own fees. So right now, Exodus does not let you pick your own fees. They said that Exodus is for newbies, so they don't really want you to be able to pick your own fees, because if you do, and you pick a lower fee than is required, your transaction gets stuck forever. So what I'm going to show you right now is how to pick the correct amount for your transactions and not pay a lot for fees. So first of all, you need a wallet that let you choose your own fees. So this is a list of wallets from the Bitcoin Talk forum. The one I would recommend is Electrum. Just because I think it might be that Exodus even built off some of their code from Electrum. So Electrum is an open source wallet. I have it installed right here. So it's not pretty compared to Exodus, but it does work. Right now you can see, like, if I send 1 Bitcoin, it'll be 18,000 USD, 18,717. And then there's a fee adjustments that what you could do. You could adjust your fees from 5 Satoshi per byte to up to 300 Satoshi per byte. So now, how do you pick the right amount of fees to use? We go back into bitcoinfees.earn.com. So right now you can see, again, I mentioned yesterday, if you put a 0 byte, your transaction won't go through, period. But if you put in 1 Satoshi, your transaction will still probably won't go through. And again, this is how much fees HashFlare paid for the transaction that they made to my account. They paid 31,104 Satoshis. And then we just have to divide that by the byte size. So they paid 83 Satoshis per byte. And if you go back to bitcoinfees.earn.com, they paid somewhere around here. So as you can see, the delay is 4 blocks to infinity. So that's the reason why my transaction wasn't picked up at all, and it lasted up to 7 days. That was a very, very small amount that wasn't enough for that transaction to go through on a timely basis. So now if you want to send a transaction that will go through on a timely basis, 300 would be more than enough, I would think, for any type of transactions. You're paying 300 though, it's still pretty expensive, because not only does Electrum support custom fees, the Ledger Nano S also supports it as well. Instead of setting a high transaction fee, I can set a custom fee. At 300 Satoshi per byte, I'm paying almost $19. But that's still cheaper than low confirmation right now, which is $25. So just by knowing how much you're supposed to pay, you're already saving money, because just by knowing and seeing that your transaction can go through even as low as probably 290 Satoshis per byte, your transaction will still go through. So you can save a lot just by knowing how much you're supposed to pay. But now let's say that if you want to save even more, in all honesty, if you transfer from one wallet to another, you can still pay lower, because at the end of the day, it's your own transaction. You're just transferring money to yourself. So you really don't want to pay 300 Satoshis per byte. I would recommend, and this always changes, so basically you still have to reference this chart. I would say if you're transferring to yourself, you can probably get by with 170 Satoshis per byte. So let's see, how much would that cost? So if I'm transferring this to myself, I don't really care. If it takes a day, I don't mind. So it's going to cost $10.72. So that's almost a third the price now. But it's still not the cheapest possible. You can even go cheaper, but I would definitely not recommend choosing something like this, 120, because at this point, it's 4 to infinity. It can be 4 blocks to infinity before your transaction gets picked up. So I wouldn't recommend it. I would really, if you're just going to do that, you might as well just wait and don't do the transaction at all. But if you don't mind, having the transaction hang out for a day or two, you could just use 170 bytes. This is something that you guys should play around with, test it, get comfortable with it before you actually do this. So I wouldn't say just send the whole amount. But you should learn how this works first before you actually send a large amount. I don't want you to get transaction get stuck. But as I mentioned yesterday, even if your transaction do get stuck, there are 2 transaction accelerators that I showed yesterday, ConfirmTX and also pool.viabtc.com. Anyway, that's my video for today, guys. Let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment down below. Smash the like button. Hit the bell icon for post notifications. If it isn't crypto, it isn't worth mining. It isn't worth speculating. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.